going on, social media? What's going on? Good thing for me to be back. And, I'm back off vacation. And I have a lot to say this morning. I have a lot of things I want to talk about. Hopefully touch on and, get through everything, man. A lot's happened since I've been gone. And shoot, there's a lot of things we got to get to. So let's get to it. First things first. I had a really good time in the Bahamas. It's good to go back in, because the Bahamas for me, right, if I had to really be honest with you, it was one of my favorite ports when I was in the Navy, and it was good to go back. I didn't like the fact that everybody kept trying to sell me shit, but, it felt good to bring my lady over there. It felt good to really just visit. It felt good to go on a cruise or whatever. With that being said, I don't know if I'm going to do any more Carnival cruises. You know what I mean? 1, I drank like a fucking fish. 2, I ate like a fucking racehorse. And 3, I don't know if I miss being confined on a boat that long. 5 days on a boat is a long fucking time when you really think about it. It don't seem like it is, but it's a long fucking time. But, all in all, I didn't have a bad trip. It was a good trip. We had a lot of fun. We did a lot of shit. You know what I mean? It's good to get a break away from work, but one thing about it, man, time moves forward. And, for as long as it felt like I was on that boat, it felt like we left the house one day and then finger snap and we were right back here. It was like a blip when you think about it. I think because we was having fun and we was drunk so much, so the shit went by fast as a motherfucker. So in all, if you're a person that likes to drink a lot, especially if you're a person that likes to drink, I recommend the Carnival cruise, right? If you're a person that don't have no patience, I recommend you getting a 3-day cruise, because a 5-day cruise is long as fuck. Not only that, but being in a small confined room on a boat, you know what I mean? It can wear on you, and sometimes it wore on both of us. So, just the fact that we had to be stuck there, being on a boat is great. It's a fun experience, but unless you like being confined to a boat for 5 days, you take that however you feel. But all in all, I had a good vacation. It was nice to get away from work. It was nice for me to not drive trucks for a little while. That felt good, you know what I mean? But back to life and back to reality. And the way this weekend's going, I'm gonna be right back to work. Monday's gonna be right around the corner like a motherfucker. So, it is what it is. Now, for what I really came to talk about. Now, while we was on the cruise, President Trump got elected. And Lord have mercy. If the gender wars was gender warring before, this shit went into overdrive. Look, I don't know what the fuck it is with people and just the presidency that feels like because a certain person has the seat that it's gonna be the end of the world. I don't subscribe to that. I feel like personally I'm in control of my own life, right? And the shit that I was seeing on social media, 1, I don't compare social media to real life, because motherfuckers in real life don't act like they do on social media. But motherfuckers spread their thoughts and spill their feelings all over social media. And I guess that's what makes it look different, because when I walk into a Tops or a hair place or a Value City or Rainbow, motherfuckers are not necessarily expressing their political views inside a store. But when you get online, you can see everything a motherfucker's thinking. And I think that's the thing sometimes I dislike about social media, is that it's a bunch of people always telling you exactly what they think when they need to be dealing with it in real time. Right? And I'm going to just give you my thoughts on the whole shit, right? The first one that comes to my mind immediately is I didn't have a dog in the fight. I don't give a fuck about Donald Trump, and I don't give a fuck about Kamala. And that thought continued up until the point where it was time to vote. That and the motherfucking text I kept getting about, we need to vote and go support and this. Man, nigga, listen, dog, I'm from the hood. And I think that's what makes me so disconnected from a lot of this shit. I'm from Southeast Georgia. I'm from the country, right? And nothing the president has ever done has really affected the environment where I was at, right? I've always, been what they consider a lower class citizen, so to speak. I think I'm more middle class now, but I'm a lower class citizen. I think I'm bottom middle class now, right? And what I'm saying is, I still, and I tell this to anybody that, within the sound of my voice, I still got to go to work on Monday no matter who's in the seat, right? It could have been Kamala that won. I still got to drive that truck Monday morning, right? Trump won. I still got to drive the truck Monday morning. And the way motherfuckers are outraging about the presidency just shows that motherfuckers are way too invested in this shit to begin with, right? Women especially. But I get why, but women. Like, look. Oh my goodness. The way y'all are invested in this shit was a whole different ball game. I have a theory behind a lot of this shit. This is just me personally. I want to start that by saying that I don't know shit, right? I don't know shit. I'm not a political guy. Don't expect me to know what I'm talking about. This is just a point of view that you can look at and take something from, argue back with. Cool. Because I have to put disclaimers on shit like this because motherfuckers think I know shit, or, they think I'm actually out here spilling like some sort of like, secret or whatever. I don't know anything. This is just what I think. This is my brainchild, right? Think about it like this, as far as the abortion law go, right? As far as Republicans, I don't think these motherfuckers, as far as Republicans, give a fuck about your feelings. You gotta understand something. America's not run on how the fuck you feel. They don't give a fuck. Like, okay, when I think of Republicans, I think of like, there's a bigger play here. Do I think Republicans have an air of racism to it? Yes. But do I think that matters? Yes and no, right? Because I think the world has an air of racism to it, but I don't want to get stuck on the racist point. I want to stay on the abortion part. Now, you gotta think, if the Republicans think about the overall picture of, like, I'd say the economy, because look, I think there is a bigger scheme at work here, and which is this, right? Let's say you give women the option to abort their children. And now, if you ask me how I personally feel about abortion, listen, you bitches do what the fuck you want to do. If y'all don't want to keep the baby, that's your choice to do so. I can understand from the woman's standpoint, and this is why I don't have a dog in the fight, because I kind of land in the middle on both of them, right? If you are a woman, right, and you want to not keep a kid, that should be your choice to do so, right? That should be your individual choice to not keep that kid. You don't want to get pregnant. Listen, having kids with the wrong nigga is a burden to a woman. That's a fact. Like, it's one of the single things I think can really unravel a woman's life. You are a single mom. It makes it harder for you to date. You know what I mean? Most men, for some reason, they have this notion that if you have kids, you're fucking useless garbage. Because that's the rhetoric that's been put on the internet. You're a single mother. You work a job. All the negativity that's displayed toward that. What I am saying to you is this: Republicans don't give a fuck about none of that, right? Follow me here. Because while, I do understand the notion of giving a woman a choice with her own body, and I'm also not someone that's against that, here's the other side of the argument, right? If you give every girl a choice to delete her baby every time something feels wrong with the nigga she's with, there ain't gonna be too many. There's gonna be a lower population, like, so to speak. This is just what I think. You don't gotta follow it. You don't gotta give a fuck, all right? Just what I think. I think America gives a fuck overall. I think that America, to some degree, has their pulse on what's going on in social media. Because okay, what I'm saying is this: marriage is not the thing that it used to be back in like the late 70s or just way back when. I don't know the exact time, right? Marriage, to me, if you ask me what I think, ain't what it used to be. Motherfuckers are not rushing to the altar the same way they used to. It used to be, motherfucker out of high school, they go to college, they meet in college, y'all get married, y'all have a family, then y'all stay together, husband goes to work, wife stays at home. We have moved away from that paradigm like a motherfucker, right? And we are all out here, we as Americans, for the most part, all act as independent contractors. Women just as much as men. Yeah, women make money now. Like, I think most folks ain't thinking of that. Women make money now. Women have freedom now. Women are going to be way more selective of the men that they date now that they have money and they're able to obtain the same shit, because the leverage that you used to have as a guy was, oh, I can provide, protect, and do all this other shit, right? But if a woman has her own money in her own home and her own shit, what does she need a nigga for, right? So if you get that type of woman pregnant and she don't like you, getting rid of this kid, fuck that. Like, I'm not saying every woman thinks like that. I'm saying you're given the choice to do so, right? Now imagine if every woman in the U.S. thought like that. Then there wouldn't really be any more kids. Or at least there'd be significantly less. I'm saying, like, okay, women are opting out of marriage. Women are opting out of motherhood. Women are opting out of having kids. Women are opting out of a whole lot of shit. And I mean, look, from the woman side of the coin, rightfully so, because I can see how a woman would feel. Because look, I am technically raised by a single mother. I saw my mom struggle firsthand, right? And I can see why a woman in Gen Z would be like, nah, nigga, I'm not doing none of this shit. Like, I'm not raising the kid by myself. I'm not doing housework by myself. I'm not paying bills by myself, because it is a one-sided deal. And the thing with women is, y'all don't handle stress and pressure the same way a man does. Meaning, like, okay, a dude can feel like shit is unfair and we'll still participate in it. Meaning, like, we're not as emotionally driven. Like, okay, I feel like JB Hunt's unfair in a way, right? I'm gonna still take my black ass to work in the morning because I need a job. Women, on the other hand, I don't expect y'all to be on the same type of, like, I'm gonna put up with all the nonsense for the sake of putting up with the nonsense. Like, you know, women need to sleep more. Women take more vacations. They take more time off. Mental health days. A lot of that stuff is more women-based. That's not me talking shit. But what I'm saying is, you can't put all that pressure on a woman and expect the motherfucker to perform, right? And I think America knows that. They're seeing y'all opt out of doing all this motherhood shit and all this, oh, I want to be a wife and be a stay-at-home woman and my husband makes the money. We do not live in the generation of the housewife. Most women treat housewives like sellouts. This is just my theory. What I'm saying is this, right? Where does the next generation come from if every woman has the option to kill off her child every time she feels like something is wrong a little bit, right? Now, me personally, I think the powers that be know this, right? Right? I think the powers that be know this. As far as the abortion law, because that's one of the things I see on my timeline is that motherfuckers are angry about the abortion laws. Cool, right? And look, before you think things don't affect me, I have a daughter. So this does apply to me, to, you know, somewhat, right? Because let's say my daughter gets pregnant by some ain't shit motherfucker. Like, I have to now deal with that. So I'm not writing it off as if it's not my problem at all. I just want to mention that. Now, here's my next point, right? I'm not surprised by who won. Donald Trump winning makes sense. Like, to me. Okay, as like America's agenda, it makes sense, right? Am I saying that, you know, I didn't think Kamala could ever win? No, I'm not saying that, right? But what I'm saying is, you got to think of who's in the seat and who runs this country. Old white men, all right? I can't see. You got to think about it like this. I guess there's another way to think about it. Like, feminism happened because some old white guy allowed it to. Right? Like, okay, can women really defend feminism by themselves? I'm saying without the powers that, like, on their own, right? You gotta think. Okay, for women to have rights and laws and all the other stuff, that means some dude somewhere felt like some of the shit that was happening to women was wrong morally. It's the same thing with feminism. Some dude co-signed off on feminism somewhere, right? For men to have the power to be, feminism exists because men allow it to exist. Think about it, right? You can sit there and have a bunch of angry women, but if the powers that be don't give a fuck about nothing that you're talking about, they don't give a fuck. Like, okay, they'll let you sit outside the corporate building and complain because that's what you feel like doing. Cool. But if these motherfuckers wanted you escorted off the property, they would have you escorted off the property. You know what I mean? These things exist because certain men in certain places and certain powers allow it to, right? What does that have to do with Donald Trump being president? You think a bunch of old white guys that come run the country was going to let a black chick win? It sounds nasty when I say it, right? When I say that type of stuff out loud, it sounds very fucked up and very mean, right? But in a way, I couldn't picture like a country run by white people for the most part, right? Being like, we're gonna like vote for a woman president and a black woman president at that, right? Donald Trump didn't win this presidency based on just men alone. Like, it was some women that felt the same way. I know plenty of, I won't say I know plenty of black people. I've seen plenty of black people switch over to Republican, right? Because the thing about being, and I'm not a political guy. I'm just telling you what I think, right? You know, the only thing I remember from the Democratic Party, when I think back on it as a kid, just in general, just from my existence, from my own experience, I remember my president is black, my Lambo is blue, right? Them Obama parties were some of the best parties that I've ever been to. I can't remember anything Joe Biden did for the last 4 years. I can't think of anything, right? I'm not a political guy, and I'm saying this as a person that has a timeline, right? I can't think of anything significant that's changed in the last 3 or 4 years. And I'm promising you, that's not me going out of my way to be a jerk. That's not me going out of my way to be rude. I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I say that. When I think of the Democratic Party, I can't think of anything significant that's happened, right? Like, okay, the theory of me being scared of Donald Trump being president when I've survived up into this point from every other presidency, it's a hard thought for me to sink into, right? Because the way motherfuckers are reacting, like, okay, he doesn't give a fuck about our rights. He doesn't give a fuck about us. Motherfuckers like Donald Trump, and people, listen, to me, Donald Trump is a wrestling character. I never believed none of this shit to begin with, right? But I remember those stimulus checks. Most people remember the stimulus check. Most motherfuckers are probably basing their vote off that because he actually did something for you personally, right? Like, I don't know anything about Kamala. I don't, like, okay, Kamala to me strikes me as like a lamp in my house. Am I talking shit about the woman? No. But I can't, nothing about her. If anything, she seems like a less pandery version of, like, what the fuck was that? Like, Hillary Clinton. To me, that's what I think when I think of Kamala. A less pandery version. Like, when I think of politics, I think of motherfuckers try to appeal to me through dumb shit. I think she had the hot sauce in the bag one time. But I don't hate the motherfucker enough for her to not want her to be president. It's just, my life can, like, okay, my stance on a lot of this stuff is, my life continues regardless of who's in the seat. So I don't have an emotional investment in what's happening. You know what I mean? So I don't know how to overreact to anything I didn't care about in the first place. Does that mean one's worse than the other? I just know I just kind of have an idea of America's play in the grand scheme, right? When it comes to Donald Trump, like, let's say the results the other way around, like Kamala wins, right? I don't think you can take a woman president to other countries, because I've been to other countries, right? And I'm not saying I know the ambassadors and shit, but like, motherfuckers, the way women act here, y'all couldn't pull that shit across seas and get away with it. Like, America has the most disrespectful women on the planet. And that's because America allowed it to get to that point. There's an agenda behind a lot of this shit, right? You cannot go to a Middle Eastern country as a woman and do half the shit you do here over there. Like, okay, I watch WWE a lot, right? And one of the pay-per-views they have is Crown Jewel is in Saudi Arabia. The women have to dress different to even be on the show, right? I'll watch the wrestling show, right? The women that have a wrestling match, and the men over there in those countries, when the women wrestle, they don't give a flying fuck. What does that have to do with the presidency? Meaning, you cannot take a woman president everywhere else and think that shit matters. Like, that's not me saying that to be a dick. I'm saying that because America's agenda versus the shit you bitches care about are two different things. Listen, the hotties for Harris thing, that shit is cool to a bunch of chicks. Like, it's a bunch of girls dancing with each other. It's a bunch of all-inclusive, and it's a feeling party, so to speak. And I mean, in comparison to the grand scheme, right? Listen, say what you want about Donald Trump. I don't give a fuck about the motherfucker either. But I know one thing for a fact. The nigga ain't pussy. Like, and that's the shit America really give a fuck about versus how you feel about your abortion laws. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. It's not. I get both sides of the argument. And this one I don't have a dog in the race because I'm not emotionally invested. I'm just telling you what I think from the shit that I see. This is Ronell's opinion. You can side with it or not. But I'm telling you, America, listen, y'all can be on the internet and cry and scream and complain. And like girls are getting on camera screaming because their candidate lost. Screaming. Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris was pretty much a much bigger version of what's already happened on Facebook. It was a peak level gender war is what I'm saying. Right? There are girls on my timeline screaming into the camera because Kamala Harris lost. Crying. Ready to unalive themselves because their candidate lost because they felt like their rights don't matter. And rightfully so. Right? But here's the thing. A lot of y'all are in y'all 20s. A lot of y'all are in y'all 30s. A lot of y'all are in y'all 40s. I'm saying like y'all are above drinking age, right? Which means you've lived into this point. If anything, look, the shit that get me, right, when it comes to stuff like this, is motherfuckers don't have the wherewithal to work around a problem. Donald Trump getting elected could potentially mean me getting, like, okay, if you really want me to like add what I think to this, right? Donald Trump getting elected could potentially mean me getting my head shot off at a traffic stop, right? Because what is it? Project 25 or whatever? I forget what the fuck this shit is because I'm not a political dude, so I don't keep up with it. You know, what they're giving immunity to cops. But it's not like motherfuckers wasn't getting shot before that. But here's the thing. I'm a nigga from the hood. So whether a nigga from my block shoot me or the cops shoot me, I still gotta, like, okay, does it matter who fires the bullet if I get shot? Like, does it matter? Like, oh my God, the person, listen, motherfuckers have done shit to me and they have not, like, met justice for it. I'm supposed to hang my whole life on it? Look, as a black man that gets pulled over at a traffic stop, unfortunately, that's going to have to be one of the situations I'm going to have to just be extra cautious in. And that's my that's my point with a lot of this, right? Women, as far as y'all and these abortion laws and everything, you can't just give pussy to niggas any kind of way anymore frivolously. Meaning, like, you can't just fuck a homeless person because you feel like fucking a homeless person, because if you get pregnant by said homeless person, your ass might be stuck with a baby because you can't get an abortion now. Meaning, like, you have to kind of think some of this shit through a little bit, right? Before, y'all was just doing whatever. Like, listen, I think I seen a post on my timeline where a girl was like, all that nothing me daddy shit is over with. You shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. Like, I hate getting passionate about politics, but I hate when my common and my intelligence is being played within my face. Hey, I think I hate that more. Look, bitch, look. You can't just frivolously do anything anymore because now there's direct consequences to your actions. And I think that's the shit that women are really pissed off about. Like, the abortion laws too. But, like, you can't just fuck around, make a mistake, and then be like, oh, I'm going to go get an abortion. Because that abortion could mean a 4-hour drive for you to where somebody can legally do it in that state. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you have to have a little bit of forethought with your body now. Because it's like, oh, well, men want to control our bodies. You can feel whatever way you want to feel about it, but the law is the law. That means you have to work around it. Does that make sense? Same thing with me, right? A cop could potentially blow my motherfucking head off at a traffic stop and then beat the case. I have to be conscious of that. I don't expect none of these candidates to come to my house and be like, hey, Ronell, here's $100K because you voted. These motherfuckers don't give a fuck. Like, but I know that already, so that's why I'm not as angry about it. Like, the shit could have went the other way. Like, okay, to take it from the other perspective, there are dudes that are like that are literally disrespecting I can't even say the damn girl's name. They're literally disrespecting this woman because she's a woman running for president. Like, your average Republican white man is not going for none of that. And these are the motherfuckers that run the country. I'm just saying, think about it in the grand scheme. Like, okay, take it from this perspective. Like, Diddy, let's say P. Diddy, right? I don't think I do think P. Diddy is a freaky ass fraud, like to the max. Like, I think he's as far as freaky can go, right? But I also don't think Diddy was the one in control here. Like, I think Diddy signed I think Diddy got involved with a bunch of other shit that was beyond the power of our understanding, and he had to keep the shit going because he had to keep these motherfuckers happy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, even if Kamala won, she wasn't going to be the one running the show, strictly off the fact that she's a woman. Motherfuckers would have bullied her into the position of what... Listen, politics, the way they put it to you on TV, is not the way it actually plays out in real time, right? I don't know that for a fact to be like on paper, but I know there's more to it than what they're presenting you. It's just that everybody takes it at face value. Even if that woman would have won, it would have just been one big ass feel good moment for women. But it would have probably been the woman version of Obama. Like, because what the fuck, this motherfucker, like, okay, a black woman in a White House that's ran by mostly white men. like, okay, you're just this, like, okay, she would have just been Jared for Subway. Hey, if that makes sense. Like, she would have been the spokesperson. She would have been the front woman, right? She would have been the front, like, it takes real power to do some shit. And even when you, like, take someone like her, and I'm not disrespecting her, right? You take her over to China and all these other places and everything. You have her meet with these people and all this other shit. Just because she's the president don't mean the men in these other countries respect the fact that America let a woman in the seat. And I think America knows that. Like, these are just things I think. You can take it with a grain of salt. But all this hooting and hollering and losing your mind and, oh my God, I can't believe she didn't win and men are disrespecting her. Nigga, you think men gave a fuck about this girl like that? Truthfully. Like, you think a bunch of... Listen, you gotta understand something as a guy from Front Street. Like, okay, take this from a first date perspective, right? On a first date, a dude don't give a fuck about your feelings like that. Like, niggas grow to care about women, but in general, like, okay, I'm looking at a floor decor across the street, right? You think I give a fuck what chick works the counter? You think I care? Okay, I'm looking at a Home Depot. You think I care about who works the service desk? You think I care if she goes home to her husband at night? I'm saying as a guy in general. That's how America feels about you bitches and all this shit y'all are mad about. And I don't mean to say you bitches. I gotta stop saying that. But I'm saying, like, America, the big America, don't care about none of that. They don't care. They don't care that y'all are upset. They're gonna give you the platform to cry about it. Because enough for you to feel like you're getting somewhere, and then they pull the rug back from under you, right? But if you gotta have that prior knowledge already to know that. So I mean, I'm not dependent on America to give me anything. My car break down and I lose 4 tires. I'm a nigga with a broken car and 4 tires. I can't call the president's office with that. Nobody at the police station is gonna help me. These folks don't give a fuck, right? But when you have that prior knowledge and everything to it, you learn not to get so angry. But as far as the woman's stance and getting angry about that woman not winning, I understand that, right? Because this might be as close as you girls ever get to getting a woman president. But America's gonna let you believe that you can do it. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to a time where a woman's gonna be a president, but I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon. America got way too much shit going on to just have a woman in the seat. They need somebody intimidating, and that's part of what most men went for. Most men respect power. Most men respect action. Most men respect fear. Most men don't give a fuck about no hotties for Harris and Meg Thee Stallion twerking at the rally and Glorilla and like the America don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm telling it to you because that's the truth. Like, because if it was the truth, like, okay, if America really gave a fuck, that woman would have already been president already. You take that with a grain of salt, but that was something I had to get off my fucking chest because you motherfuckers on my timeline are crashing out behind who's president. I don't think it's that serious. In 6 months, you motherfuckers will be back to fucking... Like, in 6 months, you motherfuckers will be back to fucking Raw. Y'all will be back at the day parties. You'll be back to getting drunk. You'll be back to letting a nigga cheat on you. Listen, It's not that women don't have power. It's just that y'all emotions make y'all make decisions that are not thought out, right? If anything, the abortion law within itself is going to make you pick a better nigga. Like, because you can't just slang your pussy any kind of way anymore. Because you got to think about this shit a little bit before you fuck with a motherfucker. Hopefully you do. But I just don't see it. I don't see a motherfucker being like, put it this way. I think a lot of y'all are smart up until the point where you like. Once you like a motherfucker too much, you start like, okay, all that, like, you know, we're gonna not take men, like, we're not gonna let men take us on any dates. We don't allow men to take us to any restaurants that we don't like. We don't like men to, like, call us anyway. We don't like men to send us dick pics. We don't like men to do this. All that shit applies to niggas you don't like. And America knows that women swing and sway on their decisions. America knows that. America's not as stupid as you would like it to believe. As you would like to believe it is. America knows women. They know them. Do you think these motherfuckers just all of a sudden, just like out of nowhere, just decided to like ban abortion like out of nowhere? You don't think motherfuckers been thinking that for years? There's an agenda here at play. Like, and your feelings are not a part of it. So I mean, you take that how you want to take it. You can kick and scream and cry about it. I don't give a fuck about neither one of these motherfuckers because I still got to go to work Monday, and that's the stance that I have, right? But all this, I mean, look, in 6 months, y'all will get used to the nigga being president, and you'll let go, and you'll go back to living your life, and you'll go back to doing all this dumb shit y'all been on. Like, and that's the truth. It's not going to matter. I mean, it matters, but it's not going to matter. Like, in 6 months, a lot of y'all are not going to give a fuck. But I'm going to leave y'all with that, and I'm going to go pick up these fucking clothes because that was some shit that was burning a hole in my head. I had them just sitting on that about 4 days. But, you know, you do with that information what the fuck you will. I feel for you.